All right. Much blessing, much peace. Acknowledgement to the original traditional custodians of this land that we are born. Acknowledgement to the ancestral lineages that may be, that have been. Give us power, give us praise.
Yeah. 12 Summers remix. You
Welcome
know how we
through.
doing this.
A little bit of
Shout out
intro
from the two
time.
OZs of this green
Get
shit.
your flowers ready, roll
Uh-oh.
up,
Been through the ups and downs.
light up.
Been
We
through
got
the ins
5
and
minutes to
outs.
get
You know
ready.
what
We're
I
gonna
mean?
get in there, get into some business.
If you don't, then you won't. I wanna do this for the crip, I wanna get advanced. I'm willing tired with this time, I wanna make you dance. But this is how I wanna take it out for sure. But every day, all these rappers out there coming out galore. They got nothing to say, they got nothing to breathe. All they try and say but do is so much sympathy. They wanna do for no bad, no original. This is top it up for fire, no originality. They just step upon a rhyme, they just step upon the stage. Do something somebody did just the other day. Cause I think it's fun and cool, I think it's got swag. Oh my god, boy, your face, you're such a dad. Niggas that for shad, man, you're such a drag. Your show was so shit. Yo, what was just a drag? The ship of the front of the tank. There's nothing authentic. You ran it, just managed to back to the taste of the food of Reddit. I don't give a fuck how many streams or how much money you make or how much the fun of you did, Jigga. I'm about to support the culture and live for the kids and myself. You dig? You fuck. This is time for the leads, the keys, the buck. Man, rapping nowadays is easy, buck. But I'm from the school when it was so high, we had to rent the farm for separated road tie. They wanna stop the rap, they wanna stop the rap.
Yeah,
Instead
yeah,
it wasn't
yo.
music, if
You
they
know where
can't
you
afford
at.
the music, call the safe music.
Roll up, get your
Not to say
blunts
you see
ready.
the music, but my packers always stay so fat, and that's amusing. So I sit up and take my plot, and it's a timer. My mother's always telling me that rock must change it. I got a line so fly to part try. I'm waiting for the day when I buy a mansion, the thicker sand in the bar, I'm super dependent, and the bomber down the fence, and it's super ransom. Yeah, and at the time, this is all from the rap money, war from the sap, but he's never gonna leave it. So
Best
I
believe it.
believe it, receive it, and up upon a time, who's receivers the demons, and now from the scream and the die for the wolves, the angels go to war for the fight for the soul. Yeah, I got some rights to ignite the great slice and make fights to make night. Let buy and put you make your cheese. I go to sleep and rest the fire, make it for my enemies and pray for my motherfucking sleeves on that. And my breath when we motherfucking breathe on back. But when we say so strong, but when we stay disciplined, restricted from the gin. And off upon the studio, let me get to go. If it's time for the future hoe, now I made the music. If it's time for computer hoe, upload up
Stick
computer
around.
pro. This the way I'm shooting to go.
You better
Nowadays,
indulge
shoot
your
a
brain.
fuck that shit. You ain't on the street. You ain't got no shit here. Where the fuck of the beat? Where the fuck of it is and where the fuck of it at? With the guards and the rods and the rumble of facts. So fuck that, yo.
Alright. That was just a little bit of vocabulary freestyle exercise. Vocabulary exercise, you might call it then. Fitness, maintenance. Just go through with one more instrumental. Then we'll go kick it last right into the show. There's some people in here gathering around. That's weird. It only says 30 seconds live on StreamYard, but it's been like 6 minutes. But anyway, it's all good. Chat send the link. I mean, other way around, sorry. I think I put my words down to sync, but the link's in the chat for anybody that wants to come through. Have your word heard. That's the main concern. But what have you learned? I'm puffing on the curb, on that herb. Got your mind at ease, mind freeze. And stability please. What to talk about, I walk about like Agabri was banging. Mom beats and the shit left hanging. Strangled on the cord, angled on the noose. Angled at me, struck at the boost. Feel confused, knowing I forget strange. Mind direct and the force, then the needle exchange. All the verbs and nouns and sounds profound in my mind. Going round with the utter the blood, it makes sense. Do I need a thesaurus and dictionary? Do I ignore this imaginary disease? Please maintain, please maintain. Mama, baby, you need it, it's a people. Mean it, baby. 1, 2, 3, we start catching, matching, interaction, break down the fraction, mathematics, equations, cross relation, on the tape phasing, every time I'm blazing. Big green flowers, powers out the owl, superhero, no fast, taste house, keep clean, keep pure with the test. And you know, get your time to roll. Hope you guys get it ready on. I got one roll going, one burn going, sorry. Now, I'll leave this life first. I better get some time. Get my roll on. Hope you do too. If you're out there, you got some flowers, man. Now's the time. Get it together. Alright. So it seems we're coming to the end of this. Alright, much blood, myself. So, hope everybody's good out there, man. Much in this time of ridiculousness that we are going through once again, as it always will be. But it's cool. We maintain, we have fun, we're indoors, we keep it loud, we keep it pumped. So, again, another impromptu rap coming through. But what I thought kind of triggered my mind as I was sort of getting into the business of it, but was one thing thought of like Tupac and Biggie. Um, if anybody is a hip hop fan, they must be aware of those influential pioneers of the way rhyme is today. So um, it's kind of, I thought I was just thinking because the story kind of has been, I guess, just left the way it was, and it's kind of not really, what's the word, closed. There's no real closure, I guess, to it in the sense that it got me thinking the other day if it was a whole West Coast, East Coast beef, the whole thing with Tupac and Biggie and the whole Coast Bad Boy Death Row label going on. And it was if it was really on that determination side of things, and the killer, and the it involves out turns out that Orlando Anderson, I guess, the alleged Crip gang member, was charged for Tupac's killing, then it just made me think of Biggie's case, where wouldn't that, like, if the killing was brought, was to be like all about the East Coast West Coast beef, and basically Tupac was taken down by BIG's side, and then in retaliation, which is basically what was spread around uh, in mass media, was the retaliation killing of BIG 4 or 5 months later. Uh, Now, so it was what, September 13th, the day that actually Tupac passed away. I think September 13th, 1996, but 6 days after being in the hospital. So it was September 7th, I think, the day of the shooting in 1996. And then March 9th of 1997 was B.I.G. Christopher Wallace's passing. Now, yeah, it's just that interesting question there. So if the East Coast West Coast beef was, the cause, and it was Biggie's side first attacking Tupac, and then if it was Orlando Anderson, how come the retaliation hasn't been solved, or uh, you know, because if they have got the case of the Crip member Orlando Anderson, then how come the Tupac side retaliation, they haven't been solved? to resolve Christopher Wallace's or B.I.G.'s the killer in that case. So, um, really, this is kind of like this was a uh,
We live in.
this was like I don't know, not this fella, it's on now. I just saw this up. Like everyone watched the whole thing, obviously.
Titled Unsolved, I believe, right? Unsolved, which has become a big
So
hit.
this
Everybody's talking about. Look, I got a painting behind me
basically, well, this guy's the
with many
interviewer.
different characters, and one of them is Tupac. I was a 1996 grad.
Okay, we'll skip through this.
You can obviously say no.
This gentleman here basically was a supposed the police involved, a police officer involved. One of the police officers involved in supposedly both investigations. So he goes in showing a bit of a war, paints a crime scene,
Reggie Wright, who was the head
and
of security at Death Row.
kind of explain
tried to
things here,
question
but I didn't
Suge.
really
He's
get left with a
non-cooperative.
clear
Many other people in
explanation.
that entourage get questioned, but the cops don't really make any real headway because
So,
people aren't
you
cooperating.
know, paints a picture of all these
As a
artists and
result of
things
that
like
fight
that.
took place between Tupac and Baby Lim, Suge Knight gets himself
You know what I mean?
involved in that
Look,
melee
Easy E,
and sent back
Dr.
to jail
Dre,
for a probation violation. So
they're
6
kind of
months
even
later,
involved in
Biggie
it
is shot.
somehow.
Suge Knight is in prison, or he's in
Um,
County Jail.
So it really just made me think about like as opposed to what is said and what is heard, and as to what is real. Like I mean, this they were pause. We got to pause that. Go back a bit. Like
on March 7th of 1990.
say,
Biggie comes
all right,
back to LA.
here. Like I mean, yeah, Easy definitely a great party even before this guy's time, but just the whole stigma that came brought about from this whole situation that they were, all the magazines and TV stations were able to just derive ratings and sales from these two artists, brilliant poets, and they were able to grace a microphone with so much style, man, and just amazing historical type lyric, poet, and rhetoric, but that shaped pretty much the world as we know it. And unfortunately, they've passed, and they were able to um, do what they've done. But then, have they ever been put to rest in a graceful way? I don't know. I mean, obviously, B.I.G. had a huge Brooklyn, the what do you call it? Funeral, public funeral and procession and things like that. But just for me, I mean, I don't know the actual alleged shooter's name or whoever came out and got confirmed. I don't know. Just looking here, I can see this. Better give acknowledgement. Legendary Johnny Cochran, the lawyer of mass intelligence and brilliance, who was able to be a great inspiration, I guess, to many, and I hope that he is. People recognize who he is, his skill, his ability, what he was able to do, what a wordsmith, how he counteracted the whole the game of the system, really, and he was able to do what he did, and unfortunately, in tragic circumstances, passed away, and but represented so many people in so many prestigious cases. He's a man. But anyway, back to the point here. It's kind of like, and then even easy, his death was just pointed out and um, you know, put down to HIV/AIDS within, and a 6 month period of diagnosis, and then passing away, like fatally dying. That's a lot of people have been saying that he has showed no signs, or the people that were around him showed absolutely no signs of illness. Then was diagnosed, and then kind of deteriorated very, very quickly. Where to most people, who are other people who are affected with HIV/AIDS, the signs of deterioration are much more evident. It was from interviews I've seen, people are saying that Easy or Eric Wright was looking very healthy and muscular, and um, still coherent and stuff like that at the time that he was diagnosed, and even up to his illness and up to his death, he was still sort of there. It didn't deteriorate as much. So that's another question. So I mean, another great, and then these people, yeah, it's just questions that I have. So if anyone's got any sort of idea, I guess, about what did happen, it'd be cool if you could come up or even talk about whatever. But I'll post a link in there. The thing there. I mean, I hope all are well, obviously. As I said, this time, it's like, it's intense. So, obviously, he's supposed to go on about the movie here. Where would I go? Okay, so probably just missed a bit of the shooting there. But, I mean, I won't go through all of it. So, there's been a lot of things come out of it. And this guy's, as I said, this thing didn't really close you down with an evidential. I mean, give you much real full closure on the whole total thing. It's kind of just a bit of speculation from this officer, and as you can see, because it didn't go through all the courts and things like that, it just kind of ended up as it was. Past things they pass. I just, yeah, it was just something interesting because they're very influential, I guess, to myself. The All Eyes on Me album and the Tupacalypse Now, they were the first two sort of CDs I got into hip hop, like my personal collection. And also the Dog Pound, Dog Food, and Snoop Dogg, the Dog Father. That were initially just, I would be constantly listening to them in my time of getting into adolescence and growing of age and getting into the culture of hip hop, and it's just I haven't turned back from that. And that's what it is, man. And that's what it will be, because we blaze and I stay blazed and amazed. Not phased and dazed, but anyway, it's educate. So, yeah, man, I did just like another impromptu type thing. I don't know which way we take it. I'm just kind of peaceful and meditative, smoked out. That's all I'm really good doing and wish to be doing. And just the boredom. There is an element of boredom kicking in. So with the time of lockdown and all these things like that, and insanity. Not insanity, but which way do you believe? If you haven't got a routine set, if you haven't got your schedule set, and even if you do, and that's been distorted in a complete way, maybe that could put you off completely. But I think you should be try and design a schedule, and then be determined to stay on that track as much as you can be. But excuse. Yeah, man. Bless up. Yeah, bless up. So, yeah, I mean, people. I don't know to anybody else. What where you be at, where you're from, uh, you know, to hear your side of things would be pretty cool. Uh, what do we else we got here? Oh yeah, I saw a few things actually that are really today maybe a bit what's the word? I don't know. Just I guess it was strange to find out these things sort of years have not been common knowledge, but I just didn't know. You come across these things, and I'm talking Kate Fisher. I don't know if anybody's aware of her, or former Kate Fisher, aka she's like an Australian actress. Uh, and you like I don't know, kind of very. She lived uh, life in the limelight for a long, long time, and I guess she still is, but she supposedly kind of went off the rails a little bit and gained weight and did all these things, but now she sort of came back, and it was just kind of, I guess it was good to see, but like in a way, because it showed you raw, honest side of human, well, the life experience and how it can be, how fortunate and unfortunate, but then still fortunate to we all are and can be. So, she went from teenage um, rose to actually to teenage, stardom and global celebrity at the age of 13. Then went on to a career in modeling actress in Hollywood and such, and it kind of faded away, I guess. Oh, and then went on to marry one of the richest people in the world, maybe like in media. Kerry Packer's son, I think it's James Packer. So to live from that sort of life and then supposedly fall off the rails, and then to kind of change their name, uh, and to come back. So it was kind of what's that word? I guess heartwarming and inspiring story for folks. But yeah, as we got like a couple of folks at the house. No one's come up though. It's cool. If you guys are chilling, that's alright. You're at work, you're doing what you're doing. Uh, just before I was just did a little breakdown of BIG and Tupac because it did interest me. I want to kind of know in which way BIG did pass and who was the one to be charged or who to pull the trigger, because if it was the East Coast West Coast beef and Biggie's side killed Park first, then uh, and that homicide has been solved, then why not how come the other side hasn't been solved fully and completely? Well, I don't really know, but anyway, so either which way, um, I could do some research and try, but I suppose you'd never really find out unless you were there. If you were there, you'd know. But if you're not, you're too slow. Because that's just how it is in the land of the living. But we continue to grow and be in peace. Do 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 do. Oh, check it out. This is pretty cool. Okay, we'll check that out. We'll go there and see. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Yeah, so basically the machine, which was the thumbnail, it was the thumbnail. So yes, It's not really going to show it, or there's a thumbnail. Oh, well, if you, I guess we'll have to go back. But can you go back? The thumbnail to the drum machine. That was interesting. Well, it was one of these. Um, Something similar to that, I guess. Which, it's a very famous drum machine that the Beastie Boys supposedly made their first album on. And here this is pretty interesting actually. I'd like to get into this because it's something that really does ache at me, being a musician and things like that. Because a lot of people think people refer to 808s. Oh, they just want to hear that 808, man, that 808. Ooh, it was cracking that 808. Yeah. So really, I'm not sure if they don't realize that what they're hearing is just either a sine wave, at a low octave, with different oscillators set at different amounts of oscillators set at different tweaks and different waveforms to give certain texture, but at the base of it, really, the chunk of that 808 sound you're hearing, it is just a low octave sine wave, and a lot of people kind of don't realize that the sine wave and then the kick drum on top of it is it's pretty much that effect can be achieved, but in the initial sense of it, the 808 would be referring to this drum kit that Roland bought out in the 80s, or 82. Okay, so, and the one kick drum from this sound was a kind of very wide open, low frequency bass, really body shaking, boom, 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 like in that sense of the word, as opposed to the or a very tight kick drum. It was that very open, it had a long release, heaps of sustain, like a boom, boom, yeah. Anyway, obviously, if you hear it, like you know what I'm referring to. But it was derived from this machine, and obviously, so now with that same similar effect, if you were to change pitch and octaves, it would give you the effects which they are using in now in the modern music. Of you'll hear the bass lines vary in range, kind of like a bass line. It'll be a kick drum, but now they're just, if you're using it, use it at an octave, a fifth, and a seventh interval, or it's very prevalent. You'll hear that through the music. But so basically, yeah, this thing, we'll just see what they've given us a little bit here. We'll see what they say. But this is actually the drum machine. So I myself came up on a 303, and then to the 505. It's a groove box. I'll show them after this, but we'll just, because it goes for a little while, we'll see what this samples, what it comes up with. Okay, that's great. So if you can hear that kick drum there, that's one of the ones you can see. It had that boom, explosive sort of sense to it. So that is what you tweak with and can enhance. Roller also very much compared to also Akai, like a lot of in the hip hop sense, a lot of people went with Akai MPC, but I've actually myself, I'm very familiar with all Roland pieces. These would be all inbuilt rhythms of the machine. Obviously, you could change the tempo, swing variation. Even myself, I could even do that there, I guess. Chopped and screwed. Drop, drop. Rest in peace. R.I.P. DJ Screw. You could take it to this. Oh no, that's a bit too much. That's just your 4 on the floor type beat. What else did they do? So that button there, obviously you could tap that, and I think it will on the go box. It would, if you tapped it 3 times or more, it would give you that tempo. Trigger it through the machine. So obviously it says a few things there. See, a lot of these beats you'd be recognizing, very familiar. You just turn, to change the tempo a little bit. Need to change the tone to that. A lot of people have used these, especially that. See, they were very, very famous for the kick drums that were used. And you can hear within them, I mean, like if you've got an ear for it, you can hear the attack and the release of the different ones there. And for the time, especially for the time that you were in the era, it was quite cutting edge, I guess. Thanks, see? Man, that's really familiar tunes. People. But even as it was, man, facts. Amazing. I'll just show you the root box. This is basically the first machine that I got. It was the diploma of 1998. Was that? I guess I wouldn't. So I was like 16 when I got my first job. I like Pizza Hut, and I saved up for this machine. So, I was just getting into production really, and I guess it kind of, it's something that I guess if you're just going that way, and unfortunately, I mean, it is what it is. When I look back, it's kind of like the shopkeeper, as they do with making the sale. So this is a very versatile, all-in-one unit hardware piece. Whereas, a lot of people are using DAWs, digital audio workstation softwares, software programs on a computer or a or a Mac or something. So if I'd gone that way, it may have been a lot of that's just one different thing. So basically, yeah, these are separate things. So I've gained, I guess you could say, it's fortunate that I've learned that knowledge in both of them. They're all doing the same thing. Both are doing the same thing, though, achieving synthesized sounds and manipulating them. And they've all they all have the same tweaks and features like resonance, cutoff, the attack, decay, sustain, release, envelope, LFOs, all these things like that. But I think these kinds of things are for more dance. They were designed for more dance music, I guess. So if you hear the demo and see what they've got, they kind of. But I was making hip hop.
Let's check out some of the MC303's 448 sounds, ranging from an SH101 bass to tones straight from the mothership. The lines you create on the MC303 can be played directly from the 16-note keypad or Pro Charge. The MC303's simple current and next pattern display lets you...
It was dope. I guess yeah.
The arpeggiator can really funk things up. All you need to do is enter arpeggio mode and play a chord on the keypad. Add a groove and you're all set to go. The Groove Box really lets you interact with your audience. You can remix live by muting and adding parts on the fly.
Yeah, well, I'd say what it was and that was the bass one, so it was good. Only problem, I guess, initially, if you were with a producer, it didn't have an undo button, so you could get just so many layers and you'd be on the final piece of your project, and if you make a mistake with the rhythm, the inability to press undo and was not there, you'd have to erase the whole track or something like that. So that's probably one down of it, but the actual capability was really good. So this was the step up. This would be the 505. This is what the next got. Same, really similar setup. It's just a bit broader, I guess. The what do you call the motherboard inside must have been a bit larger, but they can also give you the capability here. Whereas the other one, I could have kept it up. It was just all, each track was there, still rhythm and 7 tracks. You don't have the fader. The fader was basically inside the capability of one of these knobs. You'd have to press a button to open it up. So you've got the fader here. Drum kit itself, I think it had about 20 inbuilt drum kits, but you also had the capability of presetting in like another 40 of your own. So you could either take different drum sounds, percussion sounds, and create your own kit, or tweak one of the ones that were preset and save it as your own. And then on there you had like a choice of about 2,000 different sounds from 5 different sound banks to then add your 7 tracks. They're called a sequencer, so basically you're making a loop. It's up to you how long the length is. It goes up to 1 to 32 bar loops, or maybe there were 64. I'm not sure. I think it was 32 though. 1 to 32 bar loops, and then so if you want to change up in a song, you sequence. So you've got like 200 different patterns. So each sequence is made up of several different patterns. So pattern 1 would have the intro with just all the instruments and no drum kit. Maybe pattern 2 would have the drum kit intro with just the snare going and all the instruments. And pattern 3 might be the introduction of all the bass and hi-hat and crash and everything, and be the full swing of things. And then pattern 4 could be the breakup and bridge. So then you'd then sequence it out in the whole project in that sense. Or you could play it live and just take things on and off, but it was designed for that feature. You're supposed to program it all up. But so you've got your quantize there to keep it all in time, or put it into different rhythm, reverb, delay, different effects they had. You could all save it to the principal thing. Arpeggiator was really it's an awesome tool because it plays to a devised rhythm, like either your selection, so it could be the whole notes, half notes, eighth notes, quarter notes, sixteenths, and then they even had all different type of rhythms. So you just press that on, press a key, and it will trigger that tone. If you press it in a chord, it'll either play it. It's up to you. We could have played it in all inclusive or note by note. So in here, basically, there's the envelope. So people out there, as I was talking about the sine wave before and things like that, that's like a perfect wave. So I guess I don't think there is an example, but that would be the closest thing. It's just like the shape of a wave. It's like it's very the curve of it. That's how it's kind of defined. But anyway, with that, you've got your attack here, A D S R. So it's attack, decay, sustain, release, and this just brings on the sharpness. So if you've got a very like fast attack, so just say this little down low, it's very fast, but if it's up the top, it'll be very slow. So it's down low, it's coming in straight away, this effect. So your attack, it's basically how hard and fast the sound is hitting or engaging with the trigger. So if you to bring it on up to slow, it's just not coming as impactful and as harsh. It's kind of eases on to your ear, where if it's down, it's very boom, impactful, whereas up is kind of floating, and your decay is kind of, in a way, not the opposite, but how much it is going to sort of fade off. Sustain is how long or how heavy, how much emphasis, how the velocity and level that your sound is going to continue while triggered. Like if you're holding it down, and then once you let it go, the release then comes into effect. If you have a long release and you take your hand off the note, it is still going to be sort of playing. But if you have a very short release, take your finger off the note stops. So that's how you kind of emulate synthesizers and things like that. It kind of might have been a bit boring, but we'll have a listen to see what this guy broke down. If he's done a bit of a sample.
505.
Yes, this guy must be a home tutorial. He's done some
Is a bit
stuff. Let's have a listen.
kind of.
As I said, they were designed for more dance
Something like a
music, so not really emphasizing hip hop, so more Europeanized type thing.
To turn the value for the timing all the way up, and also for the velocity so that you can really hear how this sounds now. Again, I think it was on 178. That's how it was programmed. Okay, and now I'm going to use key shift. So then lower the notes as one would expect until there's almost nothing but noise coming out of the machine. Okay, but now when I raise key shift, when I turn this value all the way up or further up, at some point the machine starts reversing the notes, reversing the sounds, that is. So
Great little tip there.
so not only giving them a higher pitch, but also reversing all the notes. And this
See, that was a great tip for people with
is
for
a
music. I'll
nice
keep it going on, see if there's anybody in here. I've got two
effect
people
for
in the
creating
house. Oh, God,
transitions
buddy,
to
what
the
is up,
next
my man?
pattern, or things like
It's just
that.
gone through.
I've also
few
shown
things.
this in my previous video with this, with exactly this drum and bass pattern that we are.
Have you got your smoke out there? Get your rolled on.
Okay, I think things like that are so much fun to play around with. Amazing. Also, the filters sound really cool, and this is also something that I didn't really understand when I had this machine. When I first had this, you can influence either single parts of the drum section here, of the rhythm part, or you can manipulate all the instruments at once. For example, using the envelope here. I'm going to use an amp envelope on only the bass drum first, and then on all the parts at once. When you see only when you have the setting like this with parts selected, then the rhythm part selected, and then tone select, so that only one of these parts lights up. That's how you manipulate a single part. You could also choose any of the other parts here. Now listen to how the bass drum changes. Maybe I'm going to shorten this up. Could also change the pitch of the bass drum.
Exactly, so there's your particular manipulations.
Also using the pitch
Rather.
knob here, at some point it starts reversing the bass drum sound.
Similar thing as to the key shift that was there. So I just jumped off that. Whoops. I'll go into another one as I was talking about the 303. So I'll come back to that though. So this is. Oh, what are you doing? Sorry about that. Get back in here. Good. Okay, so this is 303, which was the machine that I was using initially. It's prior to the 505. So let's just see what the hip hop sounds this guy can come up with. Obviously, he's not the most experienced, I guess. Well, that's pretty dope. So as you see, if you're watching prior, this is the same machine I was talking about, MC303 all in the group box. And now he's using the patterns there. He started off with 33, he's changed to 34. Now he's just taken out a part. The instead of changing patterns. Pretty dope sounds, not so cheesy. But I don't know if you guys approve or not. If you guys, what do you think? Drop it in the chat. Nice little break. See if he changes up his pattern and goes to 35. Or if he'll just keep it. There it is, there you go. So you can see the change in the pattern. It's only a 2-bar loop, but he's got different percussion coming in and a different change up of the sound. Same chords, but added a new part, solo melody. Goes on to check out 36. So you got 200 patterns in this machine. This is the smallest one. So technically speaking, if you put all of the capability information of this machine into one project, you could come up obviously with a wicked sound song. Sorry. So whereas there's a lot more information. I mean, that's plenty of information to have the ability to do that. Just a few little things. Undo, as I said, was one little feature wasn't there, as opposed to the 505. So this guy rocks it out, man. He did a pretty good job there, doing his thing. I'll go back to old mate. I'll go back to the other fella, and then I'll see if there's oh, do it again. What are you doing? There any hip hop with their 505, but I just gotta remember to click to share audio. Truth is that old mate when we cut out.
As if the sound was almost as if it was coming through a closed door or something. Giving it a really soft attack now. Maybe in combination with the key shift now. You hear this? That's so much you can do. And the filters are really powerful. The filters are really steep in this machine. They really get you can mangle the sound really drastically and change the
he doesn't have much longer to go.
The sound with
He's got a few minutes.
It has low pass, band pass, high pass filter, and then a PKG, which I think stands for peak generator, with a sort of bell shape curve that really puts a lot of emphasis on the mid. Great filter sound here. Yeah, and I could go on forever talking about this machine.
Pretty dope. This guy was, the technical side of it. We'll go look into it. I'll show you something. Like a. So, see, as you say, the 505 is basically in similar comparison range to the the Akai sort of MPC, but people in the sense that it's hardware, because these things, MPC, you have to import all the beats and sounds into it, whereas these sounds come within the generator. But I just found this one, so this is the same 505, the larger one, somebody has come up with a supposed hip hop beat. The roll and clap, that's a really, really signature sound. This guy's pretty amateur. There wasn't really no chords and too much about the rhythm. But showing you the sounds it does. He's not making use of the patterns. He's just using the one pattern here, and there's 196, and taking parts in and out. So what this machine is kind of designed to do is have one pattern all preset ready to roll, and then you sequence it, as I call a sequencer, to 197 or whichever particular one you want, and then give the track a different feel instead of pressing parts in and out. There was one more. There was another one here. The nose won't come up with a ad. A little bit of a tick there. So everybody's hungry. Got your munchies. You smoke on. Oh, this guy reckons he's got something. We'll just have to see, eh? He's got a minute. Alright. So you see what it is? Okay, so from that example there, oh no, he used pattern one. Yeah. Gave him a bit too much credit there. He might be just rocking on pattern one the whole time, so he doesn't. See, you go basically from pattern mode, this is what it is. So each pattern would create the song. So instead of pressing buttons, taking it in and out part by part, it should be rolling on to pattern one is everything playing, and pattern two would be your part taken out. Then you put it then in song mode, press play, and then do it all by itself, sequenced, automated, rather than you'd have to manually trigger. Anyway. Good use of the arpeggiator there. So really pretty simple there. Very simple, like 2-bar loop he's got there. And as you can see there, I was going to mention that, and then he'd use it. That's pretty amazing. So we'll go back a bit. This is a laser here, the D-beam controller, which, as you can see, he uses his hand. So there's a range, a scope of like kind of this much area. So if you put your hand, whichever way you move it, it gives the sound a different vibe effect. They had different three different triggers there. One was like turntable, so if you went like, it wasn't a scratch type sound. It was more like what he did then, like the slow down, and then if he pulled his hand back away, it would wind it back up into up to tempo. So yeah, and also probably track 3. I guess he used with the arpeggiator sound. You could tell the high pitch. That was, you just press this button and sorts it out here. There was a good worth of that, but obviously pretty amateur. Let's have a look at other fella. Some advice on dead mouse. Okay, as you can see, he's got a 4-bar loop set. So he's pressing off record, but then find the sound he wants. Recording it. And if you press the record button, it'll bring it into the loop. So once he's got 5 minutes 30, we'll see what he can come up with. Is this guy got some funk or what? Once again, you guys are more than welcome to come up. Have you say this was just an impromptu thing. I was coming down. I don't know how long I'll kick a for, but much appreciation for hanging around. I wonder if he's only going to make the beat as in percussion. See, you've got R as your rhythm kit, as I said before. Oh, yeah, he might be separately moving the tempo, changing the tempo with the dial. Here we go, he's getting funky. He just couldn't play it this funky, you see. He couldn't play it in real time. That's why he had to slow it down. See, that's the go with that. Okay, so he's adding his chords. Sliding around, he's looking for the particular sound. There's like 2,000 different sounds from 5 different banks. That's pretty dope. So obviously he's using that as a MIDI controller. The sound is coming from an actual groove box, but he's playing the chords on his MIDI keyboard. Because this isn't so... The keyboard on the actual hardware is not so great for playing. Like piano. It's only got 16 notes to it. Or 16 buttons down here. This guy's arms in the way. So he just did a bit of cut off there. Resonance to his sound. So he's just gonna have probably beat, chords, lead, maybe some bass if we're lucky. There you go. So he's gonna add a bass line to it. Nice level. Yeah, that was one good feature. The other thing last that he just did the where his head is. Let it go. It's the low booster over here. This actual machine, and then if you press that button, that actually give it an extra layer or lower of an octave. Whereas this trigger here, he had minimum to maximum of the boost bass, and you could see that this thing, that his speakers and they started shaking towards the end when he put it up high. So he's going to play with the control and that laser I was talking about before up here. Well, this guy's he's got a dedicated channel to it, okay? Going on to alright, so this is a step up. This was the 808, so this is probably a bit newer. They came out with it probably the 2000s, so as you can see, it's a bit more, it was upgraded. At the beginning, I showed you the TR 808. Now this is the MC 808, so we'll see what this was. God, he's obviously just unboxed it. Put it out, see if he's got much skill.
Alright, let's check that out. Alright, go and get that snare.
So that's for the people, you see, if people are interested in making the beats, you gotta look for your sound. It does take a lot of time, you can't just make a beat just like that. But the more skill you got, the quicker, obviously become acquired to it.
Alright.
You know the process, you know the chords, you know the tones, it becomes a quicker process. It's got a basic, very basic 4-on-the-floor type beat with just a bit of feel at the end of this loop.
I'm gonna do the hi-hats. I'm gonna take the quantize off. Hopefully I can keep that keep it in time. Here we go.
Speed them up a bit. Oh, I think this one. See what he goes for 7 minutes, so we'll see what he gets to by the end of it.
Alright, that's cool. A little off, but you can roll with it. Let's go to that little vibe.
Okay, so he kept the quantize off, so to give it a bit of a human touch. Quantize just keeps it just precisely into rhythm. As you can see, the lights are lighting across the pad as the song kind of plays. Each measurement is a specific place along the progression of the loop. So if you quantize it, it puts it in a precise placement to wherever you design it to go. Whereas if you so it gives it a look not very body, but it's just precise feel. Whereas if you keep the quantize off, it kind of can give it just a human feel to it. Some people would prefer to just for things like that as in hi-hats. For some things. Obviously this guy's having a few problems with getting it in on his first go. But don't listen to it as it is now. As I said, I'm speeding it up to the process. So,
All right.
I said alright, so we'll give him a...
It ain't right without this stuff. So as I said, I got some Tribe Called Quest snippets.
Turn up the bass and lay low on the treble.
So that was the step up that they added with the feature of it from the 505. They added the sampler capability. So yeah, as you can see, he's used that.
Turn up the bass and lay low. Turn up the bass and lay low on the treble. Turn up the bass and lay low.
This is the year that I come in and just devastate. My style is great, action peoples cannot dominate. My rhymes are harder than last night's erection. Don't blame it close, I have this mic up in your midsection. You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired.
You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired. Turn up the bass and lay low on the treble. Turn up the bass and lay low. Turn up the bass and lay low on the
That's pretty
treble.
bad
Turn up the bass
with his
and lay low.
sampling
This is the year that I come in and just
effect, I
devastate.
guess.
My style is great, action peoples cannot
I didn't give
dominate.
the beat
My
very
rhymes are
much,
harder than last
but
night's erection. Don't blame it close, I have this mic up in your midsection. This is the year that I come in and just devastate. My style is great, action peoples cannot dominate. My rhymes are harder than last night's erection. Don't blame it close, I have this mic up in your midsection. This is the year that I come in and just devastate. My style is great.
But no, what do you guys
action
think?
peoples cannot dominate. My rhymes are harder than last night's
You
erection.
guys think this guy's rocking or what?
You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired.
You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired.
You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired. Turn up the bass and lay low.
You're on point, tip.
I think I might go out with this guy if no one wants to
Again fired.
You're on point, tip.
You're once
come up.
again fired.
Much peace
Turn up the bass and lay low.
to all out there who's smoking up what you're smoking on. Are we still smoking? Yes, you're all day.
Turn up the bass and lay low. Turn up.
You're on point, tip. You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired.
You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired.
You're on point, tip.
You're once again fired.
But no, this guy's simple, pretty simple, just rocking it flow. Good use of his how was it again? Ladies and gentlemen,
Turn up the bass and lay low.
nice one, brother. So that's pretty good. I got with the sampling effect, that was quite a cool demonstration to get you on with. I mean, a lot of people, I guess, we'll just see this fella. What's going on here? Dude's got, see this is the 303. This is the older machine. So what was just shown was the 808. Well, this is the original groove box. Anyway, for the groove box generation. So as you see, he's using it as a MIDI controller. He's just taking the sounds out of it, and then triggering them on here because the keyboard is not so huge on the actual hardware piece itself. It only allows for like an octave range, an interval range of a fifth, 5 semitones, sorry. So yeah, it's not too wide. If you wanted to jump like an octave, you couldn't. So they do have a button for it on here. You just press that and it will play this an octave lower, but rather if you wanted to play it in real time, makes it a bit easier. Let's see what these guys got, eh? So what are you using? Breeze? No, that's an early version of Logic, right? Speed it up a bit, it takes 20 minutes to do each thing. So this had really, really nice sounds in it, but just like the structural capability, yeah, you'd want to kind of use the whole thing to do one song, right? And the particular sounds in it, because they're all different from the 505, 303, 808, 909 is even out, so they all have their each unique sound banks. So even there, that crash, you would have heard that's a very, very, like, you know, what's the word, signature to Roland equipment. Obviously a bit of tech difficulties going on inside. So that's the MIDI. This black one's the MIDI. This is the audio. Oh, okay, so I don't know if this guy's got too much. He's just using one pattern here. He's taken this long to get that bar in his beat. This is so far, this is what he's got. He's got a really low tempo. Although he'll have to pick it up with some sort of, I don't know, what do you guys reckon? Do you reckon he can pick it up and save himself from here or what? I don't know. It's a bit... Let's go, yeah. Well, he's liking it, but it's pretty simple so far. So there you go. Bank 1, sound 7, sound 8. So they've got some really, really nice sounds within the 03, as I said. And you've got your cut-off resonance tweaks. See what he can come up with. What does he do? See, bass, the Roland, as I said again, you know, that 808 thing. I don't know if you guys came in later, you wouldn't have heard it, but that's, you know, something that really triggers me. It's like the 808. People don't really realize what it is. That's basically sine bass, right? That's a sine wave at a low octave. So that in itself is the basis of this thing as I'm talking about. The 808s. See, he's using the low boost there. That was a cool feature about the hardware. Back here, you've got this feature. There you could trigger low boost. Whereas the other one, the 505's got it up here. That's an arpeggiator. So, let's go like go bit further into it and see what he was able to get up with. Okay, so he's got onto there, but this isn't like obviously I've sped him up, so. Don't think he really knows what's going on. Just turned it up just a little bit. Yeah. This guy doesn't really have too much musical theory, obviously. Knowledge. But his chords. What he's doing. So I think he's losing it. The competition. He's losing me anyway. It took 20 minutes to make that. It's quite whack. Probably say, oh no, just what about everybody else? What do you guys reckon? Reckon that guy's pretty whack or what? I think so. Everybody left. So I think that guy's pretty whack. So, but the guy before, previous, he was actually pretty good. So, yeah, man. Much dope, much blessed. I should have left it on a other note with him, but we'll leave it at that. So, much gratitude to all comes through. Thanks for hitting that like, sharing, comment, and just stay up. Look forward to seeing you guys soon, but hope you guys are all well. Peace out, as always. Peace out.